Now I'd like to introduce you to my find of the year, a car that I have actually become rather smitten with. Here at AutoTrader, we love to give unbiased car buying advice to consumers who are in the market to buy a new car, or their first car for that matter. In the process of doing this, we get to drive a lot of different cars. Everything from a budget-oriented city hatchback all the way up to a multi-million rand German Luxo barge, and everything in between. And that gives us a pretty good grasp on what is essentially a good car or a bad car. Now, with that being said, there are no more bad cars anymore. Just cars that fall short of their peers and lack refinement. And it's because of this that many people believe that we're biased against Chinese cars. And that couldn't be further from the truth, because we actually do like a lot of the Chinese products that are coming out. It's just that is that little something missing at the end of the day, which makes them fall short of some of their peers within the different segments. Now I'd like to introduce you to my find of the year, a car that I have actually become rather smitten with. This is the Chery Tiggo 7 Ultra plug-in hybrid. So let's talk a little bit about what makes this car special. Under the bonnet, there's a 1.5 litre turbocharged petrol engine, the same 1.5 litre model that you're going to get in just about everything that you get from the Chery group, whether it's a Motor, Jayco, so that same 1.5. This vehicle stand out is the hybrid drivetrain that they've now included in this PHEV. Gone is the DCT transmission, now replaced with a DHT transmission. And what this does with the throttle calibration and the gear changes, it makes this car such a pleasure to drive. And I have to commend the engineers at Chery. They have literally just now solved the biggest issue that we've had with these cars for years with this single model introduction. This new hybrid drivetrain is going to give you 265 kilowatts and 530 newton meters of torque. And the drive that delivers is just fantastic. But now, what's even better than that drive is, of course, the fuel savings. Because one of the other problems that we've had with many Chinese auto manufacturers is the fuel consumption. A lot of them claim low figures, but when you actually get on the road and test them in day-to-day living, the fuel figures there's a massive disparity, sometimes up to 5 liters per 100 kilometers. Not so with this car. Chery claims 4.9 liters per 100 kilometers when you're driving in the hybrid mode. And I can confirm right now, 4.9 liters per 100 kilometers. It can get as low as 1.4 liters if you drive the car in its full EV mode. And what this equates to at the end of the day is that on a full tank of fuel and a full charge, you should be able to drive 1,200 kilometers on that charge up and full up. That is fantastic. And if these figures on the dashboard are to be believed, yes, I could probably drive from here to Cape Town without having to stop. Now, one of the other things that you're not really going to hear us complain about too much is the fit and finish of the interior cabins. The Chinese manufacturers have gotten a lot better with this, and especially with the brands that fall under the Chery brand, I think they've been pinching quite a bit from a motor, because the fit and finish in here is fantastic. The stitching all lines up, the colors are nice, the materials have a wonderful touch and feel. And in all honesty, they really have stepped up their game, even if you are seeing a few Mercedes-Benz influences. I'm going to go on a limb here and say that this car is actually so good that I'm going to have to nitpick a few things. And they really are around the infotainment. It is a lot better than some of the previous systems we've dealt with, but this one does still seem a little bit laggy in between the menus. And then from another point of view, if you are using the touchscreen, you tend to rest your hand on the level of the dash just below it, which just so happens to be a touchscreen panel for the climate control, where you invariably end up switching on the heater, turning up the fan, messing around with the controls. It's a little bit fiddly. Now, a few years ago, I drove a Chery Tiggo 7, and I have to admit that there is an astronomical difference between that car and this one, where I was very critical of that vehicle and the throttle response and the transmission and the general fit and finish of the interior. I'm not feeling any of that with this car. Now, I know that might make me sound biased, but once you've driven the two vehicles back to back, you realize just how much emphasis Chery is putting on constant development. Now, if you are in the market for a family SUV, of course, one of the things that you're going to be worried about is safety. And, well, Chery is once again on the ball. This vehicle scored 5 stars in its latest ANCAP test. And it gets that because, well, it has a full ADAS system, so you're getting lane keeping, blind spot monitoring, adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, all of that jazz, plus 8 airbags and ISOFIX and all the other stuff that makes this vehicle incredibly safe. So let's get down to the brass tacks. It's a new car, so much better than the outgoing one. How much does it cost? And there is another big surprise. The Chery Tiggo 7 Ultra plug-in hybrid, 679,900 Rand. Now with that, of course, you are getting Chery's very, very comprehensive warranty and service plan. I speak under correction, but I think it is 7 years on the vehicle, 10 years on the drivetrain, and another 10 years on the hybrid parts. You're also going to get a 5-year, 60,000 kilometer service plan, so your first few services will be covered and you don't have to worry too much. And the fact that you have that 10-year warranty on all of those hybrid parts, and that, of course, industry-leading 1 million kilometer distance on the warranty, which, incidentally, Chery has also just tweaked a little, because it would seem that where that 1 million kilometer warranty was only prevalent for the first owner, Chery has now tweaked that so that that warranty will carry over to the next owner as long as you're selling the car back to an official Chery dealership and you're buying from said dealership. And that's just fantastic news. So in conclusion, is the Chery Tiggo 7 plug-in hybrid that good? Yes, it is. And I can honestly tell you that without feeling or sounding biased. I've had to take my criticisms about Chinese vehicles and reevaluate them, because if this is the kind of work that they can put out when they put their minds to it, it would be incredible to see what the rest of the Chinese automotive sector can do. And if I were a legacy auto brand in South Africa, I'd be worried. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch our review on the Chery Tiggo 7. If you've liked this video, please like, share and subscribe, and tell us in the comments what you liked about the video, what you didn't like, and more importantly, what you'd like to see us review next. Until next time.